What is going on in our skies? Biden's State of the Union. John Tory is gone. And the government of the United States, specifically the FBI, going after Latin Catholics. This is the Arana Nation.
National emergency. Important instructions will follow.
We will not comply.
Why the hell should I?
Nation. These leftists are not progressive. I'll tell you that right now.
We've won. I'm going to tell you, we have won.
The Canadian media is no good. It is no good. In the name of God, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I welcome you to the Arana Nation, the land where the masses shall walk barefoot because the ground is so holy. I am the Commander-in-Chief, Michael Arana. I want to welcome all of you guys for being here, for choosing me over the Super Bowl. I find that particularly flattering. I forgot the Super Bowl was tonight, and I was worried that maybe nobody will be watching because they want to watch a bunch of buck dancers, as I like to call them. Nevertheless, it's their choice. I heard they're going to have the black anthem. I don't know what that is. Just some globalist nonsense. But hey, I want the Eagles to win, by the way. And if that costs a few viewers, I do apologize. I'm not taking it seriously, but thank you very much for coming to me instead of the buck dancers at the Super Bowl. And I want to start off with talking about what is going on in our skies. Mr. Engineer, you have a clip that you have you've put together, and I would like everyone to see this before I get into this, please.
U.S. military shoots down another object, this time over Lake Huron, making this the fourth shootdown in about 1 week.
We have breaking news this hour. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has ordered the military to shoot down an unknown object flying over Yukon. Prime Minister Trudeau tweeted, "I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace."
So there you have it. What in the world is going on with our skies? I mean, ever since the Chinese spy balloon, we've had four, including the Chinese spy balloon, aircraft or balloons or whatever they are, all over the skies. Yet again, one in Montana, another one in Yukon territory, and another one now today in Michigan. And Michigan makes the fourth one. And I'm starting to wonder what in the world is going on. Even now, just the tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau is now ordering planes to shoot down balloons over Yukon. Before we get into it, I want to say I don't want to jump to any conclusions. You're right. I don't know what is going on. I know that something is going on, but I don't want to jump to any conclusions because you know how our government is. They have lied to us. They have shifted us. They have shafted us. They have done all sorts of stuff, and they may be trying to whip us into fear because they're trying to do something else. So I don't want to jump to conclusion and say this is China or this is Russia or this is, I don't know, Al Qaeda, whoever. It could very well be our own government playing games with us. Nevertheless, I do feel something big is going on. I mean, these planes being shot, and not only that, you have airspace being shut down all over the place, opened up again, shut down again, and you hear about four of these balloons. Where are these balloons coming from? Is it China? Is it Russia? I mean, is this just our government trying to whip us into a fear frenzy so that they can have an excuse to go to World War III with one of these countries? Is it somebody sending balloons to America for its birthday? Is there some unknown party somewhere on this continent that I don't know about? And if that is the case, where is it? Can I please know so I can attend? I mean, North Korea? What is going on? All these balloons, more balloons than a child's birthday party. Are the aliens from outer space coming here to finally pay us a visit? Is this their warning sign? I mean, if you ask me, I say there's not enough information, but I also say we shouldn't jump to conclusions. I think we should stay alert. We should not just trust everything that our media tells us, that our globalist controlled governments tell us. uh, these so-called professionals, these military people who come on the air with all these badges on their chest, telling us that it's this and that and blah 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 blah. And by the way, you realize that it was an American aircraft that shot down the plane over Yukon. Now I know we have this thing called NORAD, which is a product of the Cold War. And it's an agreement between the United States and Canada, and I think maybe Mexico. I'm not too sure. I don't think they want to include Mexico in something like this. I don't know. But it's something whereby the skies in North America will be monitored by a joint American and Canadian enterprise, NORAD. It's a product of the Cold War. They track Santa Claus and all this sort of stuff. But my concern is that why couldn't it have been? First of all, I don't believe in all of these multinational agreements. I don't believe in them because anytime that basically means that we are a subject of America. And I love America. I love America. I love Americans. I love America. I have no problem with I'm a dual citizen. I'm, Canadian boy, and first and foremost, I'm a dual citizen. I love America. I love the Constitution. I think we should try and we should be more freedom loving like Americans, but I don't think I like the fact that our skies are basically what I'm trying to say is, why couldn't it have been a Canadian plane to shoot down that balloon? Why did it have to be American? Do we not have the technology to do it? Are we too inferior, subhuman? Justin the Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau is relying on, if this is true, right? We have to remember, if this is true, we don't know if this is just the government playing with us. But let's say, for example, this is true and all this stuff is happening. Why is it that we are relying on American planes, which basically means that if we irritate America in any way, they can say, you're on your own, or it's like our aircraft, our airspace is only protected if a foreign country decides that it is. Do we not have any Avro Aero or CF-8? We don't have anything to shoot down balloons that come into our airspace. We have to rely on Joe Biden by time, that crippled. I shouldn't say that word, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't. But Biden, we're relying on Biden and Camelback ain't back Harris. Is Canada not sovereign anymore? I mean, and I'm not saying this as an anti-American or America, rah, 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 but I'm just saying, come on, man. Like, we can't be relying. It's like we're relying on the America's good graces to protect our skies if this is true. If this is true. But I don't know. Something strange is going on in our skies. Something strange. Something very, very, and then you got Justin Tarface, Mac Daddy Trudeau coming up out there. Oh, I ordered plane to shoot down, acting all big and bad and tough. He didn't order nothing. It's the Americans who shot it down. Biden, Biden shot it down. Lloyd Austin, defense secretary, shot it down. You didn't do anything, acting all big and tough, coming out with no tie on as usual, with his tacky head and his jerry curls, coming up trying to act up. Trudeau ain't tough. Whoever sent that balloon, if anybody sent that balloon, is not scared of Justin the Tarvez back. That ain't Trudeau. Hey, if it was me who sent that balloon, I'd send 3 more, 5 more, 6 more, 7 more, just because he came out there trying to act tough, just to show him, no. Whoever it was, China, India, not India, China, Russia, North Korea, will be sending 10 more of those balloons all over Canada. They're gonna look like it's gonna look like the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, when they opened up that crate and all those balloons came out. That's what the skies of Canada will look like after whoever sent it, if anybody, heard Justin the Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau acting all big and bad and tough. Give me a break. He didn't shoot nothing down. It was the Americans who did over Yukon. We can't do it, apparently. I don't know. But anyway, I think that we should stay alert. I think that we should listen. We can listen to what the media is saying, but we should come to our own conclusions, and we should do our own research. And I think we should keep calm. Don't get frightened. Don't get startled and rattled, and don't do things just because the media globalists tell us to, and our globalist government tell us to, because we're afraid. We need to keep calm, because this could very well be a false flag. Now, are these spy balloons? Maybe they are. Maybe it's true. And if it's true, well, then it's true. But I'll tell you this. I don't see, even if it is spy balloons, if China's trying to spy on America, I think China should do, what can China do? Is China trying to look for what America's building? And if they do, what are they going to do after that? Invade America? I mean, I know China's a strong military, but I don't think we should be too rattled by a bunch of balloons. Balloons can't hurt us. Balloons can't do anything. Now there's rockets, and okay, maybe I'll be worried if we start seeing rockets in the air. But balloons, this isn't, what's that movie called with that clown? What's that movie called? That clown, It. Is it called It, with that clown and that red balloon? This isn't It, where we should be scared of balloons. You're watching too many movies. Balloons can't hurt. We shoot that thing down. I mean, if they're gonna spy on our airfield, on our bases, they're gonna spy on Area 51. Okay, spy on it and try and do something about your information that you got. Try and do something. Do something, spy, if that's what's happening. So let's just be calm. Let's just be collected, and we'll see what happens. But I am not going to just, balloon in Yukon, balloon in Michigan, balloon in Montana, balloon in North Carolina. The sky is falling. Balloons. We're being invaded by balloons. We're being invaded by balloons. Balloons are going to kill us all. No, man. We'll see. But, bouncy castles, right? Can you, I mean, just calm down, everybody. Just everybody calm down. Take a deep breath. I think we should monitor the situation, monitor our skies. And again, I am not going to give up hope. Or not hope, but I'm not going to give up my suspicion that this might be an inside job because of all of the fighting going on in Russia, and all this stuff going on in Taiwan now with America and Taiwan. They want to fight. One thing about the West, and I'm not anti-American. I love America. I love Americans. I love the Constitution of America, but you got to be fair. Americans watching this, you guys love to fight. You guys love to fight. Afghanistan, Iraq, Russia, China, Panama. You guys love to fight. And if you notice, it's not the president. Well, to be fair, his son did go to war, to be fair. But past president, George Bush, the biggest war hogs, I call them chicken hogs, they don't send their children. It's always poor children in Detroit and Bronx and Brooklyn and Atlanta and in Chicago and LA who are going to go fight in all these wars. So this could be an insight. And war is good money. Halliburton and private military companies. So it could be another excuse to rile everybody up to go to war. And now Canada is trying to get all warmongering with Russia. And Canada, with all its faults, used to stay out of wars. Iraq, that's one thing I always was proud of my country of. We always used to, when America wanted to go to all these wars, Canada, no. We got better things to do than we will fight if our territory is attacked. But now even Canada is becoming warmongering. And Justin Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau's never been to a war in his life. Can you imagine him on the battlefield? Justin the Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau in Afghanistan, in Russia. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on this whole thing. So let's take a quick break. I'll be right back.
The fact remains is that I've not been silenced. I never was silenced, and I'm never going to be silenced. Just because YouTube and Facebook and Instagram took me off of their globalist platforms doesn't mean that I've been silenced. So where else can you find Arana Nation? Every Sunday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on FLTV. But I also post that same show on BitChute.com. That's BitChute.com/Arana Nation. Subscribe to me on BitChute and follow me on TruthSocial.com/@Arana Nation. And over there, I do the same thing that I did on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll never go back to Facebook again. I sure as hell won't go back to Instagram again. And I definitely won't do anything like TikTok or Twitter. Even though Elon Musk runs it, I'd rather just forget about those mainstream media platforms. Once you dump me, I don't go back. And of course, watch Arana Nation every Sunday, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. on FLTV. Look forward to seeing you there.
Welcome back. This is the Commander-in-Chief of the Arana Nation, and I want to talk about something that I was watching on the news, which was very disturbing to me. Very, very disturbing. And that is that the FBI is trying to go after certain Catholics. Now, there are different types of Catholics. You've got the, most Catholics, the everyday Catholic who just goes to church and usually, but then you got the Orthodox, and then specifically the Latin Mass Catholics. And if we could put up this article here from LifeSite, it looks like the FBI is trying to say that Latin Mass Catholics may be terrorists like Al Qaeda. I mean, this is crazy. And I thought to myself, where is this coming from? And then I said, well, these are, and I spoke to a few people about this, and they're saying, well, it's a certain group of Catholics. I can hardly read this text here, but I'll do my best. Apparently, okay, let's see. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, as well as the Diocese of Richmond, have remained silent on Wednesday's release of the bombshell memorandum from the FBI's Richmond, Virginia office declaring their radical traditionalist Catholic ideology is a magnet for violent extremism. Apparently, devout Catholic Joe Biden is using his FBI to target Catholics. The FBI has truly become the enemy of the people. They've actually declared war on Christians now. And that comes from Ronnie Jackson of Texas. And he said that on February the 9th of this year. So apparently, and if we can get rid of this now, I have a pretty good gist of this story. The Latin Mass Catholics are very, very Orthodox Catholics. They take Catholicism very serious. And they're very conservative people. They are pro-life without, pro-life and, the Bible, and they are specific, and they're not happy with this current Pope right now, Pope Francis. And they're upset with him because they feel he is getting rid of all of the traditions of Catholicism. He is trying to bow down to the globalists, which I believe he is. Of course he is. I mean, it's clear what the Bible says about certain topics. It's clear what the Bible says about LGBTQ and all this stuff. I have my personal opinions. I don't get myself all hot in the collar, but it's clear what the Bible says. Leviticus 20, verse 13. It's clear. And there's Pope Francis there. Just get rid of it. All this stuff and all this traditionals of transgenderism and all this whole heap of and these deeply religious Catholics don't like this stuff. They don't like where America's going. They don't like where the world is going. And as a result, the FBI is now saying that they are terrorists. This is not a matter of public security. This is just a way to shut people up. This is what I feel it is. And as usual, patriots, as usual, it's Christians. It's Christians who are being targeted. It's always Christians. Christians today are like the little boy in the playground who's always being picked on because he is an easy target. And the reason he's an easy target is because Christians never stand up for themselves. I'd like Joe Biden to do that to Jews. And they got some conservative Jews. You got some crazy Jews. Listen, I'm not being anti-Semitic. I know you got a lot of people out there. Michael, no. But you got some crazy Jews out there. You got some crazy Jews out there. I'd love to see Joe Biden call any Jew a terrorist, any Orthodox Jew a terrorist. First of all, you can't say nothing about no Jews. I'd like him to talk like that about Muslims, and we all know we got some crazy Muslims out there. But I'd love for the American government or anybody in the FBI, from the director to the cleaning lady in the FBI, to say anything bad about any Jew, any Muslim, any Hindu, any Buddhist. But it's always Christians. And this has gone back for so long. I mean, I remember even in the United Kingdom, there was a very strong Christian. I think he belonged to the Liberal Party. And he said, I'm a Christian. I'm a strong Christian too. And he would always get questions from media about, do you believe in, that the snake and all this sort of stuff, and things from the Bible. And the BBC people would ask him, "Oh, do you believe in this in the Bible and that in the Bible, and that Noah took two animals?" Contemptuous questions, very nasty, questions, insulting the man's strong faith. And I would always say to myself when I'd hear these questions, you would never ask those type of contemptuous questions to a Jew running for any office. You would never dare do that. Nobody would ever dare do something like that. You can't say nothing about Jewish people. They will tear you up, put you all over Google. I have criticized Israel before. I've never said anything bad about Jews. You criticize Israel, they'll put you all up, and rightfully so. I mean, hey, listen, the Jews stand up for themselves. The Muslims stand up for themselves, but we Christians never stand up for ourselves. And this is why we're always being abused. Now the Orthodox Catholics are being called terrorists. Terrorists because they are disagreeing with the path that the government is taking. And they belong to a very strong Catholic group. But here's the thing. I have not heard of any, and I'm sure there are extremists in the Catholic faith. I'm sure there's extremists in the Orthodox Catholic religion, in the Latin Orthodox Catholic religion. Of course, there's extremists everywhere. There's extremists everywhere, but I haven't heard of any Orthodox Catholics planning to hijack a plane and fly it into the Twin Towers. I haven't heard of any, and you hear about these things. You will hear about these things. You know, when Bin Laden and his extremist Muslims were angry with America, everybody knew they were planning something huge. But you don't hear a peep. You don't hear the. I mean, yeah, you hear the odd person, one person, you know, grumbling and angry and cussing and going on, you know. But you don't hear to call them terrorists. You know what that is? Because everybody's afraid of the word terrorist. I'm not. I know I'm not a terrorist. I strongly am against the way this country and this world is going in Canada. And there's a lot of Americans who believe that way too, strongly. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm not. But there are people who are afraid of that word, terrorist. Terrorist. That's a way to shut people up. That's Joe Biden saying to shut up. Shut up, Catholics. Shut up. Shut up. And you're an easy target. So I'm telling you to shut up. And if you don't shut up, then we're going to find a way to shut you up, even if it means doing a false flag. A false flag. And I'm going to tell you guys something. If I hear of some kind of attack, whether it's a truck bomb or something like that, and they're saying it's a Catholic who did it, my first instinct is going to be that it was a false flag. It was an inside job. That's going to be my first, my very first instinct. And I think that should be everyone's too, because I haven't heard, and I know a lot of strong Catholics, Orthodox Catholics. I know a lot of them. And I don't hear, you hear these things. When something big is building up, you hear about it. I don't hear about any killing or murdering I don't hear those things from Catholics. I don't hear those things. So if I hear that some Catholic or something like that blew up something, that's going to be an inside job. And, you know, you remember Ivan Provorov or whatever his name, Provolov or provolone cheese, whatever his name. I can't pronounce these Easter. Provorov. Remember, he's the NHL player for the Flyers, and they wanted to have him in an LGBTQ jersey. I remember that story. And he said, no, this is against my religion. I can't wear this. I don't want to. I'm not saying anything bad about LGBT people. I don't want to kill them. I don't want to arrest them. I don't want to do anything. But it's against my religion. And everybody went after him like he's some kind of a monster. This is the type of thing but can I tell you something, Patriots? If Ivan was a Muslim with a big long beard, and I know all Muslims don't have beard. I'm just if he was a Muslim and he looked like a Muslim, dark skin, long beard, turban, and he said, "No, I can't wear that," I'm gonna tell you something. Nobody would say anything. Nobody in the NHL, because they don't want to be called racialists. But a white Russian, and first of all, Russian, that's just anything Russian is bad. Anything Russian. Russia has become the enemy. Russia is like Nazi Germany now. I support Russia. I'll tell you right now, I support. But first of all, he's Russian. That's his first crime. That's his first mistake. He's a Russian. Secondly, he's a Christian. And thirdly, he's white. So all those three things. And I'm saying that I'm a black man. I see what's going on. I see it. I see what's going on. I know the privileges that I have. And I know I see it. I'm not, let's not dance around the issue. If Ivan was a Muslim, nobody would say anything to him. Yeah, it's fine. You know, PayPal and all these globalist corporations, they do business in Saudi Arabia. They do business in Saudi Arabia where homosexuality is a sin. It's a death sentence as for last time I checked. And PayPal does business there. What if Saudi Arabia was a white country? If Saudi Arabia was France and they were throwing gays off of building, every single globalist corporation would be gone from France. But because Saudi Arabia, oh, it's okay. You see what I mean? So it's not only Christians and Catholics who always get the hard end of the stick. It's white people too. It's true. I'm not going to sit here and talk about black this and I'm not going to. I see what's going on. It's the truth. And it's because you all don't stand. I'm a Christian. I'm not white, so I don't say we. I'm not white. And I don't want to be white. I'm proud of it. But I am a Christian. And I see what's happening with my religion. We don't stand up for ourselves. Okay? We don't. The fact that the FBI has the nerve to call Orthodox Catholics or even to say we think they're terrorists should be the biggest insult of all time. It calls for every Catholic businessman, every Catholic worker, every Catholic politician, every Catholic taxpayer to go on strike and to march up and down and say, we will not invest another penny into this economy until you withdraw what you said. That's what the Jews would do, rightfully. That's what the Jews would do. That's how the Jews survive. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I know some guy's going to say I'm anti-Semitic and all this. No. That's not, I admire that. If you attack Jews, Jewish bankers, Jewish insurance owners, Jewish politicians, Jewish people in the law enforcement, they will all come down on you like a ton of bricks. Christians should do the same. Catholics should do the same. How dare the FBI, just because we are in disagreement with the globalist, left-wing, woke, destructive agenda that this country and this world is going in, you're going to call us terrorists to try and shut us up? No, we're going to shut you up by withdrawing our investment, by withdrawing our tax dollars, by withdrawing our labor, from withdrawing from the society until you apologize, and see how far the country goes until you apologize. And we can do it too. Christians need to do that. Christians need to. Jews do that. Muslims just blow you up. I'm not trying to be bad. I'm not trying to be bad. I'm just. I like to add a little humor, and I'm sure even the Muslims would laugh at that. But I mean, the Muslims will just blow your ass up. The Jews will divest from you. What will the Christians do? Nothing. Nothing. I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame. I think it's a deep, deep, deep shame. But I think while we reflect on what I've just said and what I've just said, and maybe think about this, let's take another quick break, and I'll be back after this, and let's reflect on what I've said.
Securing your data privacy is more important than ever. Start your free privacy scan and see how much of your data is being sold on the internet. Offering data breach monitoring, bulk data removal, and agency protection, Dataseal.io is the best and most affordable way to secure your data from ending up in the wrong hands. Remove your data today from the internet with Dataseal.io. That's Dataseal.io.
Well, it looks like John Tory, the mayor of Toronto, is gone. He is gone, gone, gone. I remember when he was put in, and now he's out because apparently he has been involved in some kind of extramarital affair. John Tory, I believe he became the longest serving mayor of Toronto. That title used to be with Nathan Phillips back in the 50s, way back in the day. But now I call him Chicken Chin John Tory. He's gone, and if we could put up an article here about this. I was shocked when I heard this. Toronto Mayor John Tory resigns over affair with a former staffer, which goes to show I've never heard of any politician resigning over an affair. John Tory has resigned after an affair with a former staffer. The mayor of Canada's largest city announced he was stepping down at a news conference on Friday evening. I recognize that permitting this relationship to develop was a serious error in judgment on my part, he said, according to the AP. It came at a time when Barb, his wife of 40 years, and I were enduring many lengthy periods apart while I carried out my responsibilities during the pandemic. All right, that's good. Okay, so yeah, all right, that's good. So what's going to happen now is the deputy mayor of Toronto, some lady Jennifer McKelvey or whatever her name is. I've never heard of her in my life, and I live in Toronto. But anyway, he is she is going to now be the acting mayor of Toronto, and there's going to be a Toronto City by-election. And meanwhile, John Tory is going to leave. Now, here's my analysis on Toronto Mayor John Tory. First of all, you guys know I was locked up in Toronto because I protested the fact that Chicken Chin John Tory closed down a small business because of this virus, which only kills less than 1% of people who get it. And this small business owned by Adam Skelly was not allowed to be opened. And as a result, I believe that business is out of business now. But we did put up a big fight. We did, and I'm proud of it, and I would do it again, too. I would. But I was locked up for that, not following coronavirus orders. Meanwhile, while I was being locked up for protecting small businesses, that very same time, Chicken Chin John Tory was screwing with a member of his staff. Now, let's put this into context. I am locked up for, among other things, not following coronavirus guidelines. Adam Skelly was locked up for not following coronavirus lockdowns. We spent the night in jail. I in one cell, Adam in the next cell. We spent the entire night conversing. Couldn't sleep in that crap. Couldn't sleep. We spent the whole night talking. Locked up. But John Tory is breaking his own rules, screwing with a member of his staff, not his wife, a member of his staff. There were millions of people in Toronto who were not allowed to go on dates with girls, with women, men, etc. They would be fined. They'd be arrested. Horseback police would come after them, run them over, lock them up, put bags over their heads, and drag them away like they did to me. I think John Tory should have had a bag put over his head and dragged to jail. John Tory should have had horseback police come to his mansion, wherever he lives, bust down the door with his mistress, screwing her there in the bed or whatever. Maybe they were screwing in the office or in a hotel, and those horseback police should have dragged them both away. I think this will go down. I think that is the real issue that I have with this whole thing. The fact that I and Adam and many others were locked up for protesting these evil, criminally stupid coronavirus mandates. And John Chicken Chin Tory, who said that if we don't follow these rules, we're all going to die, drop dead, is screwing with some woman, member of his staff. And I'm sure they weren't wearing masks while they were doing it. Felton Smith says, Big Daddy. I don't think he's a big daddy. I don't think, hey, she left him. She left him. He probably wasn't all that good. I mean, she left him, and now he's back with his Barb, who obviously doesn't want nothing to do with him either. I mean, John Tory's talking like, oh, well, you know, oh my, we've been spending time apart. Mayors, the last time I checked, mayors also go home. Mayors go home too. Every time when he's done at City Hall, doesn't he go home? No, I bet no, because his wife doesn't want nothing to do with him because he's no good. He's no good. You know, I don't know, but I would imagine globalists are not very nice people to be around. And Barbara Haskett, who's John Tory's wife, has had enough of him. And she doesn't want anything to do with him. When he comes home, she goes out. When he's at City Hall, she's at home. Because she don't want nothing to do with him. So John Tory finds some member of his staff, a secretary or something, who has pity on him, who shows him a little bit of mercy because she sees that he's suffering. His wife doesn't want to touch him. His children probably don't like him because they're globalists. Globalists are not pleasant people. Nobody likes globalists. Even the wives of globalists don't like. Barbara doesn't want anything to do with it. She's probably with somebody right now. And then this woman is with him, and she don't want him either. So John Tory has nothing to do but to leave because the wife probably found out. The wife probably took John Tory's phone and read it, and she may have told him, listen here, boy, if you don't resign, I'm going to expose you. And John Tory, well, I'll resign. Okay. John Tory is not no big. Bill Clinton is better than John Tory, and Bill Clinton is better than John Tory. What kind of man resigns after having an affair? What man does that? It's Barbara who told him, if you don't resign and make your life hell, I'm going to expose all the dirty secrets in your skeleton. And I'm sure there's a lot of them. Remember what Rob Ford said before he died? The late, great mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford. I'm not talking about Doug Ford. He's no good. Rob Ford, the one who should be around now. And everybody was going after him. And he said, don't throw stones when your house is made of glass. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Look at John Tory now. Look at his family life. Wife doesn't want, I bet you his wife doesn't want anything to do with him. Talking about, we spent time apart. It's not we, it's she is spending time away from you. Barbara Haskett doesn't want anything to do with John Tory, a hypocrite like him, who goes after people who are trying to protect their small business, but he's screwing around with members of staff in his office. He knew, John Tory knew that this virus wasn't anything to be worried about. So did the Mac Daddy too, the tar-faced Mac Daddy, Trudeau. He was all over his second home and during the Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or whenever, when the virus was supposedly at its worst. And then you got Biden in the mall. Remember when he was in the mall with no mask, when they had a mask mandate? Nancy Pelosi at the hairdressers. Remember the Ontario Minister of Finance? What was his name? Phillips or something like that. One from Ajax. He was on St. Bart's. These guys knew this virus was nothing. This was all about control. Well, I am one of the best things that I've ever done in my life, Patriots, was not get vaccinated. I'm not vaccinated even today. Not a drop of vaccine fluid is in these veins. My veins are clean, 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 beautiful, pure and clean. Anyway, and I gotta be careful, because YouTube doesn't like when these truths are being told. YouTube doesn't like when these truths are being told. But bottom line is that is one of the best things that I ever did. And John Tory is nothing but a hypocrite. So good riddance. Good riddance. I heard somewhere that Chris Sky wanted to run for mayor of Toronto. And if that's the case, I think he should do it. I think he should do it. I think Chris Sky would make a great mayor. I know he's a bit hyperactive and everything, but I'll tell you one thing. I've met Chris Sky. I don't know him personally or anything, but I've definitely met him many times. I knew Chris Sky. Remember, I always like to say I was one of the first people who came out against all these mandates and everything. And Chris Sky was also, along with Kellyanne Wolf. And I knew those individuals and Kevin J. Johnston. I knew them before they became famous. And I'm telling you, I think Chris Sky would make a great mayor of Toronto. He's not dishonest. He doesn't steal. He doesn't cheat. I think he would make a great mayor. I don't know if he would win, but I think he would come very close. And with John Tory out of the picture, he would probably come very close to winning indeed. I mean, Faith Goldie came in third place. And I mean, John Tory, then some other woman, and then Faith Goldie. It's not, Toronto is not that far gone, especially in the suburbs. And I think the suburbs of Toronto, Scarborough, Etobicoke, North York, I think Chris Sky lives in North York. I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought either Vaughan or North York. But those are where Chris Sky's constituents would be. I know he lives in Alberta now, but if he were to come back to run for mayor, I would support him. I would support him. And I'm hearing now it was Vaughan he's from. But yeah, hey, Vaughan, Toronto, Richmond Hill, Toronto, although that's all Toronto to me. It's all Toronto. Even Oshawa. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Oshawa is not Toronto. And I better not say that. Otherwise, I may not come back. I may not come out of here alive. This is my town. We are not Toronto. They're trying to make it Toronto, the gentrifiers, but Oshawa is not Toronto. I shouldn't say that. But Vaughan, please, that's Toronto. It looks like Toronto, smells like Toronto. It has traffic like Toronto. That's Toronto. I think Chris Sky should do it if he's serious about it. He has to be serious. I don't believe in people going into politics just for jokes. I think you need to be serious about it and focus on issues other than things that you are serious about. Listen to what the people are serious about: traffic and subways and the cost of living, those type of things. The biggest mistake Chris would make would be to run for mayor and only talk about vaccine mandates. And he would get my support in a heartbeat, 100%. Amen. Yeah, and amen. Boom, shakalaka goes right there. But the average man in Toronto, not just because they don't agree with it, but it's just not on their agenda, unfortunately. And maybe not, unfortunately. I mean, I've lived in Toronto, and the traffic is bad. The transportation could be better too. And these are things that the people of Toronto, especially in those suburbs, Scarborough, they care about. And that's what Rob Ford was all about too. So if Chris Sky could be a type of a Rob Ford or someone like that, an outsider, I think he would be very successful. Other names that I do like, Giorgio Mamalidi. He is from, I think he is from the Don Valley area. Giorgio Mamalidi, and then you've got Doug Ford's nephew. Ever since Doug Ford went in line with the medical globalists, I have been turned off with the Ford family. Though I would say if his nephew did want to run, he might have a good chance of winning. But ever since Doug Ford went in line with the medical globalists, I've been off of the Ford family. Although I will say that the Ford family is a very diverse. Doug Ford's daughter doesn't agree with Doug, and Doug Ford's sister-in-law, Rob Ford's bride, is against him. So I think Doug Ford is probably on his own when it comes to that family. I just have that sneaking suspicion. But I know Doug Ford is a medical globalist. He sold us out. And I think Doug Ford's brother, the one who wears the cowboy hat, he is also a sellout too. And he was opening up the Deco labels, the Ford family business, when everyone else was forced to lock down. Remember, Menzies, the Rebel News guy, he figured that out. But anyway, I don't want to get too off on a tangent here. But the bottom line is Toronto's going to have a new mayor. So, well, look, I'm getting a message here. I bet you if Doug Ford, he doesn't agree personally, but he doesn't want to lose his power, well, then he doesn't deserve to be premier. If you are afraid like that, you are not fit to be premier. If you are afraid, that means you're not the premier. It means someone else is the premier. If Doug Ford is afraid of his power and he secretly is supporting us, but he doesn't want to lose his power, he's not fit. He's not strong enough. But anyway, let's not get off on a tangent here. Let's take one more break. Then I'm going to talk about 15-minute cities, and then I'm going to respond to all of the messages and question, and we're going to do a question and answer, please. If the government of Ontario, the people who make these rules, the chief medical officer doesn't believe that the mask is important, why the hell should I? And furthermore, if you think that it's so important, why don't you wear it? And leave us the hell alone. Wear a shield if you want. Wear 2 masks if you want. Wear 3, wear 10, wear 2 shields as well. So have you guys heard of this whole thing about 15-minute cities? All these 15-minute cities popping up. And the first one that I heard about was in Oxford in the United Kingdom, where they are planning to have only 15 minutes worth of, I believe it's driving. And I believe we do have an article on this. If we could share this. If not, it's fine. But yeah, 15-minute cities. It's something that I definitely don't agree with. It's something that I definitely don't support. And I think, one of the biggest fights of my life, 50 minutes in, putting people at the center of urban transformation. We'll read a little bit of this, but I just want to say this. The COVID mandates was one of the biggest fights of my life, and we have for the most part been victorious. We have for the most part been victorious, and don't let anyone tell you anything else. But this 15-minute city thing may just be the next big fight that we have to go through. And let me read something from this article here. Everyone living in a city should have ready access to essential urban services. So far, we agree. To opportunity, to urban amenities, to variety, and to other people. And this is why people choose to live in cities. The easiest way to travel within a city, within an urban neighborhood, is to work or bike. No parking issues, no waiting for Uber or Lyft or a bus or a train. We should all be able to access most of the places we need to go within a 15-minute walk or bike. And that's what Carlos of Sorbonne University in Paris says. He calls it the 15-minute city. It's an appealing and easy to grasp concept. Unfortunately, such neighborhoods are all too uncommon in America. My own San Francisco neighborhood of No Valley is one such place. I can walk to just about everything I need except my son's baseball games and a proper work office. Although as a digital name, several neighborhood coffee shops have served as good office substitutes. All right, so that's what they're saying the 15-minute city is. But I've heard in Oxford, in the United Kingdom, that driving, for the most part, would be restricted. And in some cases, it would be restricted to 15 minutes. Now, here's my thing on driving. And this is coming from somebody who uses his vehicle to work every day. I am not somebody who is all gung-ho about vehicles. I actually do believe we have a clip from Chris Sky. Do we have a clip from Chris Sky about 15-minute cities? We do. Okay, let's listen to Chris Sky. No one can hear anything. I can't hear. I can't hear anything. Anyway. All right. So yeah, okay, we can't hear any, but it doesn't matter. I will give my analysis on car traffic. Is there a war on cars? There might be. I will say this. I do believe, especially in bigger areas and bigger cities, there does need to be better planning when it comes to vehicles. I do believe, for example, that public transportation does need a separate lane to travel in. I believe in that. I do believe in bus lanes. I do believe in what's it called, LRT lanes. I believe in those things. And the reason I do, and this is someone who you're coming. This is coming from someone who uses their car for work. I do believe that there are a lot of people who are, especially in the weekday, will be using their cars for a lot of frivolous things, which is their right to do. Okay. But it does take up a lot of room on the road. And not only that, in a place that doesn't have bus lanes, you will have instances where there's cars parked on the road and cars, trying to go fit into one little small piece of the road. It's not organized. It's also, so I do believe in road planning and trying to make sure that public transportation has the right of way and a separate lane and all this sort of stuff, and make it, especially in big cities, more convenient for people who are going to the bar or who are just doing some frivolous thing to take the bus or to take the train or something like that. I think we should be building more subways. Toronto is lacking in subways, and we need to be building more subways. We need to follow Rob Ford's dream of his subway map. I wish we would have done that. We haven't done that. We haven't even come close. But if you tell me that you want to build a city which is going to restrict driving, and you are going to have a situation whereby this is you're not allowed to drive at this time, I'm against that 100%. I'm against that. And bottom line is I don't trust the government to tell the people when a good time to drive is and when isn't, and who can drive and who can't drive. That'll just lead to chaos. And that is something that I am prepared to fight. And I see the time, we're running down on time. I do want to do a little bit more research on this issue and come back. But again, this is something that we will be fighting, and I think we should be very vigilant about. If we can see a few comments that have been coming through, or any messages or things, I do want to respond. They put lane for bicycle everywhere in Montreal and rent place for bicycles. They were starting people's for walking. I do agree with bike lanes, I'll tell you, but one thing I don't like about bike lanes is that sometimes the bikers are very arrogant and they will not ride in the bike lane. And I've seen that in Toronto all the time. I've had close encounters with bikers. And it's me who's going to get into trouble because it's me who has the car. And I think that's arrogant, and I think that needs to be stopped. If you're going to have a bike lane, use the bike lane. The Khans signed the WEF UN Agenda 2030 in 2015, and that the 15-minute cities is a part of it. Admit the Khans are no better for Canadians. The PPC is the only way out, or keep the chaos. First of all, I'm an independent, okay? And I'm going to say right here, I will give Pierre Poilievre a chance. And the reason one of the big reasons, I did vote PPC, but I'm going to give Pierre a chance. And if he fails, then he fails. But I'm not going to regret giving him a chance. And the reason for that is number one, he seems like he's saying the right things. I know he's been to the WEF. But if the WEF invited me, I would go. Not because I agree with them, but I want to see what they're doing. And I want to debate with them and scrutinize with them. Did he do that? Maybe not. And yeah, you're right. The Conservatives in 2015 and when Harper was there, they did do a lot of globalist things with China and all sorts of stuff. I admit that 100%. But will I say that Harper was just as bad as the tar-faced Mac Daddy? I won't say that. I'm not going to go that far. No way. No how. My thing is that we need to convince the Conservatives. When we see the Conservatives doing globalist things, we need to call them out and see where they will turn. If they do what Doug Ford does, then we cut them off. If they do what Pierre Poilievre does and he corrects himself, then we give him a chance. Any other comments? Don't kid yourself. The whole point of this is to drive entrepreneurs under and to destroy competition from global companies. I agree. These globalists are the enemy of real capitalism. We're going to have a bunch of crony capitalism and globalist capitalism where only a few companies can thrive and the rest of us are serfs. I definitely disagree with that. Anyway, you know what? We're running down on time, and I'm sure people are getting a bit. We're 5 minutes over. I do apologize for that, but I will see you again next Sunday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this is the Arana Nation, the land where the people shall walk barefoot because the land is so holy. Thank you for choosing me over those buck dancers in the Super Bowl. I really do appreciate it. I am very honored by that. And I'll see you again next Sunday. This is your Nation. If the government of Ontario, the people who make these rules, the chief medical officer
doesn't believe that the mask is important, why the hell should I? Listen, no. Ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, especially now.